There's something about an ancient city buried in desert sand that speaks to the restless heart of every dreamer. Babylon once stood where only wind-carved hills remain today, a testament to what human hands can build from nothing but mud and ambition. They had no forests, no mines, no natural highways of trade, just river water and the kind of stubborn hope that moves mountains. Those ancient engineers, they looked at an arid wasteland and saw gardens, saw prosperity flowing like their irrigation canals across impossible distances. The city rose not from fortune's favor, but from that peculiar human madness that refuses to accept limitation as final verdict. 8,000 years they've been sleeping under the sand. Those clay tablets holding secrets we're just now learning to read. And what do they tell us? That money, that eternal riddle, follows the same laws whether you're counting shekels or dollars. There's poor Bonsir the chariot maker, sitting on his wall like every working soul who's ever wondered why prosperity passes them by. He builds the finest chariots in Babylon, works dawn to dusk, yet his purse stays empty while wealth parades past his door. His friend Kabi strums beautiful music but can't afford the lyre that would make his melodies sing like angels. They watch the water bearers, those slaves marching endless circles, and see their own lives reflected. Different chains, same destination? There is a difference between those who seek wisdom and those who merely wish. Bonsir finally asks the question that changes everything. Why can't we learn what the wealthy know? So they decide to visit Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, not to beg but to understand the principles behind prosperity. It's that moment when complaint transforms into curiosity, when envy becomes education. The walls of Babylon crumbled, yes, but the wisdom survived, baked into clay tablets like bread for future generations. And that wisdom whispers across centuries. Wealth isn't magic, it's method. Learnable, teachable, achievable. The desert reclaimed their irrigation canals, but the principles that built them remain as solid as ever. Every generation must choose. Remain content with circumstance or seek the knowledge that builds kingdoms from nothing but determination and understanding. Money's got this peculiar way of sticking to certain folks while slipping through others' fingers like river water. Now, I've been pondering this ancient tale from Babylon, and it strikes me that wealth ain't some mystical force or stroke of luck. See, there's this fellow Arkad, richest man in all of Babylon, and his friends come calling with their complaints. How come you got all the gold while we're scraping by, they ask, as if fortune's some fickle goddess playing favorites. But Arkad, he sets them straight with a truth simple as morning coffee. Wealth follows laws just like everything else in this world. The first law? Pay yourself first. Take 1/10 of everything you earn and tuck it away before anyone else gets their hands on it. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Yet most folks pay the grocer, the landlord, the tailor, everyone but themselves. They work like oxen pulling other people's carts while their own purses stay lean as winter wolves. But here's where it gets interesting. That saved money needs to work, needs to multiply like rabbits in spring. Don't go trusting your hard-earned coins to some brickmaker's wild schemes about Phoenician jewels. Seek advice from those who actually know money, who handle it daily, who've made their own fortunes through wisdom, not luck. Wealth grows where energy flows. When rich folks build palaces, that gold spreads to workers, artisans, merchants. It's not some finite pie where one man's slice makes others go hungry. The ancient Babylonians figured this out. Make your money work harder than you do. Save consistently, invest wisely, seek good counsel, and let compound growth do its patient magic. Now, I hear some of you thinking this is too simple, that there must be some secret handshake or hidden knowledge. Truth is, the principles are plain as daylight. It's the doing that separates the wealthy from the wanting. Every man who's built lasting wealth started with that first saved coin, that first decision to pay himself before paying others. The road to riches isn't paved with lottery tickets or get-rich-quick schemes, but with steady habits and sound judgment. So ask yourself this: if you keep doing what you're doing now, where will you be in 10 years? Time's passing, whether you save or spend, whether you learn or ignore these ancient truths. The choice, as it always has been, remains yours. Listen here, friend. Wealth ain't some mystical beast prowling the shadows of chance. Old Arkad of Babylon, richest man in his time, knew something we've forgotten in our modern rush toward quick fixes and lottery tickets. 7 simple cures for a lean purse, he called them. 7 truths that cut through the nonsense like a sharp blade through morning fog. First truth, pay yourself before you pay the world. One coin out of every 10 you earn belongs to your future self, not your present desires. That fancy dinner, those new shoes, they'll fade like yesterday's newspaper. But that saved coin, it multiplies, grows, becomes your financial backbone. Second, control what flows out. Your expenses will expand like gas in a jar, filling whatever space you give them. Budget isn't a dirty word. It's your shield against the thousand small wants that devour wealth. Third, make your gold work harder than you do. Money sitting idle is like a strong man lounging while his family starves. Invest wisely, lend carefully, let compound interest become your silent partner. Fourth, guard your treasure like a mother guards her child. Every schemer and dreamer will come calling with surefire schemes. Seek advice from those who've actually built wealth, not those who merely talk about it. Fifth, own your shelter. Why pay rent to build another man's fortune when you could build your own? Sixth, prepare for the winter of life. Youth fades, strength diminishes, but wisdom invested early pays dividends forever. Seventh, sharpen your skills like a craftsman sharpens his tools. The best investment isn't in stocks or bonds, it's in yourself. Learn more, earn more, become more valuable to the world. And here's the secret about luck that Arcad's students discovered. Good fortune isn't some fickle goddess dispensing random gifts. She favors those who act, who seize opportunities when they appear. Procrastination is wealth's greatest enemy. While you hesitate, opportunity walks past your door to visit your neighbor. These aren't new truths. They're ancient wisdom wearing modern clothes. The same principles that built Babylon's wealth can build yours. Start today, start small, but for heaven's sake, start. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make right now. Gold whispers secrets to those who listen, but shouts warnings to those who won't. Today we're diving into ancient wisdom about money that's as relevant now as it was in Babylon thousands of years ago. See, most folks think wealth is about luck or magic. Some cosmic lottery where a few get blessed and the rest get nothing. But that's hogwash, plain and simple. Real wealth follows laws predictable as sunrise, steady as the tides. First law, save at least 1/10 of everything you earn. Sounds simple because it is. Your money should work harder than you do, multiplying like rabbits in spring when you invest it wisely. But here's where people stumble. They chase get-rich-quick schemes like moths to flame. Smart money seeks advice from those who've actually built wealth, not dreamers peddling fantasies. The moment you step outside your expertise, your gold starts packing its bags. And those impossible returns that sound too good to be true? They are. Now about lending money to family and friends. Tread carefully here. Help others absolutely, but not by shouldering their burdens yourself. When someone wants to borrow your hard-earned savings, ask tough questions. Do they have experience in what they're proposing? Can they guarantee repayment? A farmer doesn't lend his plow to someone who's never worked the soil. Your money deserves the same respect. The harsh truth is most people who borrow for dreams rather than solid plans never repay. They mean well, but good intentions don't fill empty coffers. Better to offer smaller help that won't devastate you if it disappears. Real wealth isn't about the gold you hold today, it's about the gold that gold will earn tomorrow. Keep it safe first, grow it second, and never let emotion override wisdom. The ancients knew something we've forgotten in our credit card world. Wealth that comes quickly leaves quickly, but wealth built slowly through discipline stays. So start where you are, save what you can, invest carefully, and let time work its quiet magic. Your future self will thank you for the wisdom you practice today. Look here, friend. Walls aren't just stone and mortar, they're promises we make to tomorrow. These ancient Babylonians, they understood something we've half forgotten in our rush toward progress. Protection isn't just about keeping the wolves from the door, it's about building something that endures. Old Banzar standing guard, telling every frightened soul that the walls would hold. That's not just duty, that's faith in human preparation. See, those walls didn't spring up overnight like mushrooms after rain. They were built with sweat and foresight brick by brick, because someone understood that security is earned, not given. And what of poor Tarkad, starving in the marketplace, dodging his creditors like shadows at sunset? His story cuts deeper than an empty belly. It's about the walls we tear down ourselves through carelessness and want. Dabasir knew something about souls, how they can shrivel up or expand depending on what we feed them. A slave's soul accepts defeat, makes excuses, blames the wind for blowing. But a free soul? It looks at debt like an enemy to be conquered, not a master to be served. The desert nearly claimed him. But clarity came with that final thirst, the understanding that running away is just another kind of prison. Where determination lives, the path reveals itself, not through magic, but through the simple act of refusing to quit. Today we build different walls, savings accounts instead of stone, insurance policies instead of iron gates, but the principle remains unchanged. We cannot afford to live unprotected in a world that doesn't pause for the unprepared. The merchant with his trembling hands, the mother with her babe, they understood what we sometimes forget. Security isn't about having enough, it's about having enough set aside. Those who spend tomorrow's bread today will find themselves begging for yesterday's crumbs. Build your walls now while your hands are steady and your mind is clear. Whether they're made of bronze and stone or bonds and careful planning, they serve the same eternal purpose: protection of what matters most. Not just your gold, but your dignity, your family's future, your peace of mind. The attackers may have different faces now, but they still come. Job loss, illness, unexpected turns of fortune. Be like Babylon, prepared, protected, enduring. Because in the end, the walls that matter most are the ones we build before we need them. So here's something that'll knock your socks clean off. Turns out folks in ancient Babylon were wrestling with the exact same money troubles we face today. Picture this. 5,000 years ago, carved into clay tablets, some fellow named Dabasir laid out a debt-busting plan that would make modern financial advisors weep with envy. The beauty of it? Simple as breathing. Take every coin that comes your way and slice it into three pieces. 1/10 goes straight into your own pocket, and I mean your pocket, not your landlord's, not your creditors, yours to keep and jingle. 7/10 handles your living, food, shelter, clothes, maybe a little fun so life doesn't turn into pure drudgery. The remaining 2/10? That's your ticket out of debt prison, divided fair and square among everyone you owe. Now here's where it gets interesting. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky theory cooked up by ivory tower types. A British professor and his wife tried this ancient wisdom on their own modern mess of bills and creditors. What happened? Magic, pure and simple. Debts started shrinking, savings started growing, and suddenly they could sleep at night without bill collectors haunting their dreams. But money's only half the story, friends. The real treasure buried in these Babylonian ruins is something even more precious: the understanding that work isn't punishment. See, we've got it all backwards. We think work is what slaves do, what the unfortunate masses endure. Truth is, work is the great liberator, the faithful friend that never abandons you when times get rough. Take it from Sharu Nada, who climbed from slave chains to merchant prince. Not through luck or inheritance or playing the angles, but through honest labor done with pride. The man who makes work his ally finds doors opening, opportunities multiplying, respect flowing his way like water downhill. Here's the thing about these ancient voices speaking from their clay tablets. They're not preaching some get-rich-quick nonsense. They're offering something better, a way to build wealth that lasts, dignity that endures, and freedom that no master can revoke. The Babylonians figured out what we keep forgetting, that the path to prosperity runs straight through the valley of discipline. Save your 10th, live on your 7/10, pay your debts with the rest, and work like your life depends on it, because it does.